You have 1,500 people or 2,500 people in a room. All of a sudden, that random event generator becomes less random and more intentional. It's not the number of people, and it's not the amount of energy that really matters. It's the most coherent signal that makes the biggest impact.
Hello, and welcome to the Pacific Channel. I'm your host, Steve Doherty. Ever wondered what Dr. Joe Dispenza thinks about ETs? Want to know what his main goal in life is? If you do, you're going to enjoy this video. In this video, host Danica Patrick asked Dr. Joe some very thought-provoking, interesting questions. I really like how Danica interviews people because not only does she ask good questions, but if the person doesn't answer a question to her satisfaction, she'll keep asking until she gets them to answer it. You'll see that in this video when at one point she keeps asking Dr. Joe, why? So her first question to Dr. Joe is, how do you get your information for what comes next? How do you know what direction to go? Where does that come from and in what form? So because she asked multiple questions at once, and they are questions that Dr. Joe normally doesn't get, he will sort of answer the question as if a different question was asked. I think that Danica was inviting Dr. Joe to discuss more of the spiritual side of his work, but he sort of switches it to the process that he goes through of creating his work. I think Dr. Joe also tries to take the safest route whenever he answers a question, and this is no exception. He's going to explain how he never planned on any of this, and that he's constantly building a model of what he understands, and like Danica, he always has 1,000 questions, right? Next, he's going to say that instead of partaking in things like social media, he likes the process of contemplation, of asking himself, what do you know? He will say, at what point do you stop believing that this is the truth? This is what I like about Dr. Joe so much. He's always ready and willing to change his current belief system based upon what he discovers and the data that changes an old belief. Once you get into the habit of changing an old belief, you are free from the shackles of your old paradigm, your old way of thinking, and your old way of perceiving your world. This is how Dr. Joe got to where he is now. It's that constant reassessment of belief systems, of his belief systems, and what we think is true. When you are open-minded to anything as being possible, then you truly do have a scientific mind. Science is not about believing in anything. True science is questioning the known and questioning the unknown. And Dr. Joe has mastered that. But he doesn't just question it. He questions it and then takes action steps to test and prove whatever he thinks may be true or false. Let's listen to Danica and Dr. Joe discuss all of this now.
I'm your host, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Let's begin.
Programming. It's like unprogramming, reprogramming. It can, when you use a wall service to, burn things down. It's alchemy too, right? It's some sort of alchemical process happening where you are like short-circuiting something and growing something new, and growing pains are called that for a reason.
Well, let's make it really simple. If we are pure love, if you're on the journey, anything that is not love in you must die. In order for you to find true love, pure love, a part of you must die. And I think that's the difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And walking the path is really what it's about.
Right. How do you, as you move through your life and you have done such phenomenal things and continue to do more and more, how do you get your information to know what comes next? Like what direction to turn your head, to turn your energy? Where does that come from and in what form?
Well, I never planned on doing any of this, really. And my theory from the very beginning is when this kind of started to become of interest to people, I just said to my staff, here's how it's going to work. I'll only go where I'm invited. If I'm not invited, I'll be a chef. I'll do something else. And so I'm constantly building my model of what I understand. And I'm like you, always have 1,000 questions. Now, it's so much better for me to sit down and take a few minutes, and instead of turning on my phone or doing anything, I actually like the process of contemplation. I like the process of saying to myself, so what do you know? But at what point do you stop believing that this is the truth? Let's get right to that point, and let's build that understanding. So I'm constantly building my model, and then I'm tearing it down. And then I'm challenging it and building it up again. And if I can't find, like, there's something that doesn't fit, then I got to find information somewhere that makes it fit, that makes sense to me. But then it's not enough for me there. Then I got to experience it. Like someone said to me yesterday, so what are you doing in your morning meditations? I'm like, well, it's really funny because I'm actually developing a new understanding, a new model, and I want to teach it at the follow-up next month. And I'm actually practicing this new meditation to have the experience so that I can teach it better. So if I can have the experience of that knowledge and the model that I build, I know the journey and I can teach it much better. So I work really hard at being the example of what I teach, and I work really hard at getting information either from references or whatever, but also the information that I love to get that comes to me when I start connecting, and then it all kind of makes sense. And so I think of as many ways as I can to teach it, but I also love to have the experience, because when I have the experience, then I can really teach it on a much deeper level. Yeah. And then now the other thing is just the scientific data. You know, we were just all on a research call yesterday. The data is so amazing right now that I can say so many more things with such conviction. I can say things now with conviction. I mean, I can say, like, I actually know that this is the truth. So, and having that kind of conviction for me personally allows me to trust more. And when I trust myself more, I trust the process more, and I can stay in that kind of uncertainty and that unknown and not move into survival. Or better yet, let me say it another way. When I'm uncomfortable because I don't have an answer, and I can continuously keep it on my mind, and I always have it going somewhere, and while I'm doing other things, I'm always thinking about it and trying to figure it out. Somehow, if I trust the process and I just go all in, somehow I run into the experience, or I run into a greater understanding about it, and then I'm able to articulate it. And getting it from here to here sometimes, especially, as you said, when you have transcendental moments, it's really hard to find words to be able to explain that. It's ineffable. It's like beyond words. So for me personally, I mean, I love the divine. I mean, I love the unknown. I love the journey. I'm never going to stop asking questions. I can't. Every new experience that I have forces me to think of an infinite number of possibilities from that experience that I would have never thought of without that experience. So to me, there's not infinity. There's infinities. Like, there's just this never-ending process here. Like,
now we're onto the multiverse. Oh my gosh, so overwhelming, the universe, but also so amazing. So, okay, all right, we'll wrap it up. Like, what, you work your butt off. You do these retreats. Oh my God, like, you do every meditation. It's insane. I just can't imagine. I know that there's an aspect of energizing yourself through connection, but then there's also, it's also a lot. So why? What's your mission? What do you hope to accomplish through all this?
I hope that on some level, Danica, that at the end of my life, I feel like that I've contributed to the world in some way. I mean, it's not about anything else, about being a part of change and transformation.
You've already done that.
It's never ending. Like, I'm pushing the envelope. Like, I want
to know what's your size of your envelope. Like, what's the ultimate goal? If you were this is what I hope.
Yeah, I want everybody to be empowered to realize that they actually can make measurable changes in their life, that they're not defined by their past, that they could be defined by a vision of the future, that on some level we leave a legacy of information that shows people really that's the truth. And for me personally, I wanted to be there on the beach when that woman opened her eyes and could see for the first time. I wanted her. I wanted to be right there with her, and I wanted to celebrate that moment with her. I want to be part of that. I think there's something innate in us as human beings, as a species, where we inform each other, and we support each other, we trust each other, we love each other, we heal each other, we shine for each other so others can shine. I think that there could be a world where we actually function in a much healthier way, and I think this really is the defining time. So if I could leave something that could change a person's life or help them in some way, I feel really good about it. For me, it just is it's a mission that gets me up in the morning, and I love to be involved in it. And I'm nothing really without my team, and so my team is a really great, dedicated group of people. Our scientific team are amazing minds that were healthy skeptics in the beginning, that now all do the work because they see it as medicine. They know it's medicine. They know how they've done drug studies. They know exactly what it looks like. The stories and testimonials that people have, I watch them over and over again because it changes my belief. And I love when scientists run an experiment 5 times in a row. I love when they do that because I know they're changing their belief right in that moment. They're expecting a different result and they're getting the same result. And they're in science to discover, and they're making a huge discovery, and it's never been outside of the human being in the beginning. So I don't know where I'm going to end up in this process, but if I stay true to what I believe and then keep asking greater questions, I hope we have a really, really big breakthrough in human consciousness, and that would be really satisfying to me.
Do you hope someday or believe someday that we as humans will interact and walk alongside other extraterrestrials in the universe?
Wow. Let's see how I can answer this. I don't know if I would use the word extraterrestrial, but I will tell you that I've had enough experiences with interdimensional beings that, God, I would be really foolish to say that they don't exist. And I think there's a very, very strong interest in the human race right now. And of course, there's always characters that are deceiving along the way, without a doubt, and we have to discern. But God, I think if our consciousness is in the state of love or more connection, I think they can lower their frequency to a certain point. And it's happened so many times in our events. I mean, people have had really profound healings, and the stories that they tell about their interaction with some of these interdimensional beings. I'm taking a risk here. I really don't care about their subjective experience. What I care about is that their condition is gone. And so then what is real? I don't know. But whatever they experienced, there goes their health condition. For them, they were interacting with that 99% of reality that we don't perceive with our senses. And for them, it was so real that their body or their life changed in such dramatic ways. And God, that's something to look forward to. Having a relationship with somebody other than something physical, do I think it's possible? It's a possibility in the quantum field. I certainly think it's possible. I've had my own experiences, and then what? Then what? I mean, it just keeps going.
Why are we interesting?
Well, I don't think human beings are very interesting when they're programmed.
You said they're interested in us. You said
of course. This is a very critical time for the human species, because I think it's a crossroads. I really think we're going to get it together, or we're not. Really.
And what does not mean?
Well, I just think this is game time.
We start over. We go with a nuclear. It's like a reboot. And if we do get it together, what does that look like?
Well, I think that it's no longer a selfish consciousness. I think it's a collective consciousness. I think that we resolve all the problems in this world, from the environment all the way to the monetary system, to politics, to government, to journalism, to education, religion, just from a greater level of consciousness. And there's not less separation. And we actually show that when we do this, we have random event generators in our events, and it's just a sophisticated coin toss. You toss a coin 1,000 times in a second, in a programmed machine. If you keep doing it, you're going to get 50% heads, 50% tails. But when we come together and we can actually execute, you have 1,500 people or 2,500 people in a room, all of a sudden that random event generator becomes less random and more intentional. But the field actually changes as a result of collective networks of observers. So it's not the number of people, and it's not the amount of energy that really matters. It's the most coherent signal that makes the biggest impact. It could be a smaller group, but more coherent, that actually can change the field. And we have data to suggest that people at a remote location that are somehow connected or entangled, actually their brains and hearts go into coherence when you do. So there's a good possibility for us to really move the needle in a really healthy way. And as I said, something happened for me at the end of our last event in Niagara Falls, just last week. At the end of that event, I just am super optimistic that we're making our way here.
We would love to give back to our Pacific family for all the love and support they have given us. We are offering 2 lucky winners a ticket to Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long retreat in Sunshine Coast, Australia, worth $2,300 each. To enter the giveaway, you must be a subscriber to our channel Pacific. Like this video, comment how our channel has helped you. Share this video with any 5 people. And stay tuned on our channel as we will declare the winner soon. Please refer to the description below for more info. Good luck.
When Dr. Joe said that he is constantly building up his model and then he tears it down, what he means is that in his endeavor to discover the truth about who we are and how unlimited we truly are, he puts all of the pieces of the puzzle together to create what he believes to be the truth. Then he tests out the new hypothesis. But if something doesn't fit right, then he destroys the model and starts all over. He's really like a super scientist. And it's not just theoretical for him. He wants to test things out himself. He wants to experiment on himself first so that he can teach it. So he gets information from references or other people, but also when he connects to source, he gets information. The thing to note about that is that anyone can connect to source and get guidance and information. That's what he's doing, connecting to the quantum field in his words. You can do that too, and meditation is one of the best ways to do it. So then Danica asked him, what's his ultimate goal? You heard his answer, and that was when Dr. Joe said that he wants everyone to be empowered to realize that you can make measurable changes in your life, that you're not defined by your past, and that you can be defined by a vision of the future. And he hopes that we have a really big breakthrough in human consciousness. From a law of attraction perspective and from the teachings of Abraham, what I have learned is that the world isn't really broken. You don't have to fix anything. There's so much more well-being going on in our world compared to what isn't. My point is that you can create a wonderful life and reality now, without having to wait for the whole world to change. Don't forget to be happy regardless of whatever is going on in the external world. And then, as you heard, Danica asked Dr. Joe about ETs. If you notice, he doesn't feel totally comfortable saying that they exist, but at the same time, he said that he knows that other interdimensional beings exist, which really is the same thing from my understanding. But what is most interesting is that Dr. Joe said that people in his community who do the workshops have stories about interactions with these interdimensional beings. Now that is pretty profound. The next question would logically be, who are they exactly, and what do we have to do to interact with them more, to heal more of us? Quite a few people who heal at his workshops talk about non-physical beings called the Blues, who offer to help people heal if they ask for it. I know that sounds kind of crazy and out there. I just recently found out about that aspect of it, so I don't know that much. But it's definitely worth looking into. So Dr. Joe said that it's not a person's personal subjective experience that matters the most. What matters the most is that people are healing. But then he finally said that yes, he thinks it's totally possible to have a relationship with interdimensional beings. I just like to make a small sidebar point that you already have a very close relationship with an interdimensional being. That interdimensional being is your inner being or higher self. Your inner being talks to you all the time through your emotions and impulses, and it gives you expert advice on every subject matter in your life. So I think that rather than getting excited about a possible relationship with interdimensional beings in the future, it may be better to cultivate and foster a closer relationship with your inner being now. It is the bigger version of you. It is that broader perspective part of you who knows you better than you know yourself. It's that part of you that knows everything you want and many different paths for you to create the reality that you want. My understanding is that we have a lot more help from many different non-physical beings on the other side than we realize. And they are not only willing to help, but also very eager to help us if we just ask for it. If you enjoyed this video, please pulverize that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Our goal at the Pacific Channel is to reach 100,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. Additionally, if you want to be eligible to win a free ticket to one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long courses, please share this video with 5 of your friends and comment below. And finally, I'd like to give a shout out to Alexandra, Becca Baddens, I hope I said that right, and Josh Brown. It's subscribers like you and so many others that make it a joy to create this content. And now, if you have any questions, please ask them below. I love to answer your questions, and I love to have discussions with you guys. I appreciate you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.